republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome everyone to our, this is our budget meeting. Our regular township meeting will be starting at 6:30. So, roll call please.
Mr. Willoughby?
Yes.
Mr. Coldiron? Mr. McGuire?
Present.
Mr. Runnells? He's in the other room.
Did you send these out to me? I forget.
I did not send them electronically, but I can.
I didn't know if you wanted to bring up anything for us to look at or talk about. Or...
Oh.
I apologize. I didn't realize the other one was at 6:30, so I'll just come back at 6:30.
That's fine.
Okay.
You're more welcome to stay.
I was
Yeah,
going to say, you can stay and listen to our numbers.
Okay, I will. I'll listen.
Let's suck her right
I'm just
into
sorry.
it.
I
You want anything to drink or anything?
No, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you.
By the time this one's over, you'll be ready to leave.
Okay.
Ain't ready to drink. Okay, I guess let's start with the general fund.
So,
Go ahead.
anyway, go ahead.
I was gonna say, these are the budgeted, the row, okay, you got the rows on the other page, all right. 'Cause
Yeah, I will have to redo all the, like the cash balances I will have to redo because they're not correct.
okay.
But what I did is I took our tax budget and then I looked at all of the numbers that we have gotten to so far through 2024 and then increased some of the line items, which says budgeted 25. Those are the increased line items. So, and some of them were the same, some of them I reduced just because I knew that we were getting a savings. I know one thing I did have to increase was dental, because dental is going up 13.5% next year. So, yeah. We got lucky this year on health insurance because we switched, but I'm sure it's going to change again next year.
Now, did, under the grants for this year, is that the money from the county?
Yeah, that's the money from the county, but what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to transfer it into the 2170 fund, 2171 fund. So we'll have to put that in with, for the park, whatever you guys want to do in the parks, the concession stand, I guess? Is that what you guys are going to do? And then the playground?
Yeah.
So we will have to do that at the end of the year.
Well, what I was gonna say is we got the money from the state too, right?
Yeah, and I put that in 2171.
Oh, they're in there?
Yeah. Yep. I put that, it's $500,000 and I put that in the special revenue fund. We're supposed to set up special capital funds, but since we already had the 2171 set up, I went ahead and put the 500,000 in it. The one thing I'm gonna have to ask about though is I had already put the money in the fire fund, and I probably most likely will have to transfer that out of the fire fund and put in a special capital fund, because you're supposed to do any kind of building you do, you're supposed to have a special fund for it.
Okay.
So, which we do, we already have a 4401 set up. So I will take the 1.75 million that we got and put it in that fund. And then right now I just budgeted 7 million for fire station. I have no idea. I'm sure it's not a right number, but I just started somewhere. And then put it in there that we'll have to, that will receive 5.25 million to complement the 1.7 and to get to 7. But I'm sure that's subject to change.
Yep.
But it's a lot like the tax budget that we did at the beginning of the year. Or I'm sorry, in the middle of the year.
The other thing I was gonna ask about the revenue for us, the first one for the general fund, we're getting 40-some thousand for Trenton, right?
Well, yeah, forgot about that.
Did they, as I said, did they ever I asked for an explanation, I think someone else did too, but I don't know if we ever got one.
Yeah, he sent me a thing to put with it, I'll make you a copy of it. It was, he broke it down and he showed all the money that we're getting based on whatever tax thing from the county.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I thought I gave that to you guys, but I didn't.
What funds does that go into, that amount of money?
It had to be split between the various groups.
I put it in the general fund, cause I don't know what funds it goes in, I don't know.
I thought the fire fund got a majority of that. I'm technically.
I think he's right. Anybody else? Brian?
Yeah, I'm with him.
I thought it got broke out to percentages that we would collect from the various funds, I thought, but I don't know how you.
They don't have it broken down like that, so I don't know how to break that down. They just have it broken down by, let me look at the deposit ticket that I
Yeah.
did.
No, that's fine.
And it goes down over the years, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
I
next
think-
12 years, I think.
Is it dropped 20% every second?
Something like
year?
that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
No. Is the, under the, I'm still looking at the general one. The other expenses, we got $40,000, is that for a certain? Thing, or is that?
You talking about 892?
No, under. the
$5.99.
General fund, 599.
We have two. We have a 110 599 and a 610 599. Which one?
The 110.
The 110, that would just be for miscellaneous, anything else that doesn't fit in any of the other categories.
Okay.
This year, you can see we've spent $43,000. A lot of that was the newsletter and the calendar and all that.
Yeah.
So,
And that. Yeah, there's.
And I got with school board members again. They don't know what's going on. So I told them, because they told me that they've already talked to them, that they think it's the treasurer. So I'm calling her. And yeah.
wow, because they had no money, they had no problem sending me football money,
Yeah,
or
I know.
sending us
Did
the
they-
football money. But
Dave, was that the check the other day in the mail?
no, that's $400 for your EMS.
Oh, fire, that's good.
Well, it has to be split, I think, between the road.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does.
We'll take our administrative fees, Mr. Chief.
Me doing that inspection down there today. Don't got nothing going.
And that was a question we had. The carryovers we had, are those the carryovers like it says for 25? Is that the beginning of 25 or is that the end of
Those are the ones I have to change. I did not get a chance to update those.
But will that be, are we saying we're rolling, well, whatever the number ends up being, is that the number for 24? Is that at the end of the year or the beginning of the year?
It would be the end of the year.
End
So
of
at the end of the year in '24, based on what we had appropriated, I projected that we would have 259,000. And then if we spent everything we said we were gonna spend in '25, then we would have the 172. But I have to look to see what our balances are, because I have not updated the balances.
So is that,
That's one thing I forgot to
does
do.
that answer some of the questions you had, Ken?
Yes. And then I got several things on the fire whenever you guys let me.
I
cover
don't
the
have
fire.
any other questions on the general. Do you have anything, Brian?
No, I don't have anything.
Page 8, Kim.
Okay.
The line number 22251, uniform, tools, equipment reimbursement. Is that like, if I buy uniforms and the uniform comes out of that, or?
No, that's one thing I wanted to talk to you about. The 200 series are benefits to employees. And as far as I've seen here, no one's ever bought anything and gotten reimbursed for it.
So that's
So it
only
doesn't meet.
reimbursements?
Yeah, that's only reimbursements, which that number I think is way too high.
Yeah.
I think you probably need to put,
Every now and then, somebody will buy, like, I'm gonna use an example, batteries, and they didn't have a card or something, and they'll get reimbursed, but you're right, I don't need that kind of money.
no,
in
I,
there.
that's one thing I wanted to mention, but I think you should, that should be an other category. 599 is other. So we could up the 25,000 I have in there to include uniforms.
So what amount do you wanna put in that reimbursement category then, the 251?
Yeah, I would say 5,000 is probably enough. You
I
guys
agree.
I don't think you really, anything you guys buy something, you're putting it on a credit card.
Okay, I agree. Line number 318, training services.
Mm-hmm.
So, what about if I send somebody to a training and they get reimbursed, does that come out of that category?
Yep.
Okay. Could
Is
we
that
increase
enough?
that, please,
Okay.
to 10,000?
All right.
And then line number 323, repairs and maintenance. Is that first top one there, is that for buildings?
We can do it. That's not how it's being done now. I think she had combined them before. See
Well,
that?
you corrected it.
Yeah.
Because the next line is the vehicles and we put an amount in there, so you did correct it.
Yes, but she had done it where she had just put it by itself.
Yeah,
But I think it needs to be separated.
yeah, could we list the top one there as building
Okay.
and then list, like you've got it listed now as vehicles? And that's correct.
Yeah, but where do you want me to put equipment? Do you want me to put equipment with vehicles?
You want-
Like, small equipment?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
So you want 3 separate?
We could
repairs and
combine the
maintenance?
vehicles and the small equipment.
Yeah. Cause you had,
You was carrying it out of one category.
yeah,
For that
before,
amount.
I just kept Amy's
Yeah.
categories the way she had them, so.
If we separate the buildings and have its own price point, and then do the vehicles and small equipment and have their own price point, that should work.
Is tools and equipment, is that only for purchasing new stuff? It's not for like repairs? too?
Yeah, 430 is when you purchase it,
Okay.
and then if you have it repaired, it's the 323.
Line number 341.
Okay.
I think it just needs to be up just a little bit, maybe
Oh, no,
5,000.
you're right, I see it.
And then the tools and equipment, 430. If we could up that just a little bit. The new engine's coming in towards the end of the year, first of the year. I've got an equipment budget on that engine, but just in case I run into a little issue with some other minor equipment that needs to go on there, if we could make that 75,000 instead of 65,000.
Okay.
And then the last one I've got is what I ran into trouble this year, is because I didn't have, I misunderstood the capital way it was done. Line number 740, machinery and equipment.
Yep.
At 85,000. For next year, our big expenses for next year is gonna be a heart monitor, which is 55,000. New mobile radios, which are 65,000. And new fire gear, which is 30,000. So then round ball figures, that makes it 150. Now, we have 3 heart monitors. We're gonna try to purchase 1 per year per budget. We're also gonna try to get a grant, but we don't know if we can get it or not, so we have to budget it for next year. We do get a trade-in amount of approximately $5,000 for our ones, so to bring that down just a little bit. The mobile radios, we was told this year by the sheriff's office that the current mobile radios that we have will be non-functional towards the end of 2025.
I was asking at the township meeting tonight, I was trying to ask the, I forget his name, the sheriff representative.
Frankie?
What, so are they changing, they're changing the system more, these radios have more capability, or what's changing?
I think, me personally, from an outsider, I think it's a monopoly system where there's nothing wrong with our radios. But because they can flip a switch, they can say, you need to go buy a $6,000 radio from us or whoever. That's just me personally.
We went through this with our portable radios, what, 5, 6?
Yeah, I remember we
Yeah, we
bought those.
did.
Yeah.
It's nothing on our portable radios are gonna have a problem, is it?
No, right now it's gonna be mobile. Give us 5 years and it'll be portables. But one good thing on the mobile radios is, so that price is $65,000 through Motorola Mobilecom, and we're putting in for a grant with 5 other departments, a Marks grant. If we get that, that will cut that cost for us in half as far as what we're gonna be responsible for. If we don't get that grant, then we're gonna look into going with the Kenwood radios. A lot of departments around here are going with the Kenwoods. They're a better price point, a lower price point. And what you're doing with the mobile radios, you're talking and you're receiving. You're not changing the channels. They're mounted in the trucks so that they never get switched. So these departments that went with Kenwoods, they've had good luck with them. They like them. They're a cheaper model, cheaper price, but they're staying in the truck. They're never getting weathered, so it should work fine. So, but that's the price for the Mobilecom. If we go with the Kenwood or we get the grant, hopefully we're spending less money then on that point.
And when we get grants, those will come up in, I was just looking up here in the income, is that the 53? Is that what
Yeah,
it
so
is?
535 is when we get, oh, that's property tax, sorry. 539 is anything we get from the state. And then 805 is local grants. And then I think there's a 599, that's any other grants, like any other intergovernmental grants.
Is that something that we can have a grant writer make us a list that he keeps us updated on what we've been applying for too, so we can kinda make a,
He did do us a list here for the last couple of months.
okay.
When we put it in the newsletter, but we haven't got anything since then.
Okay. Well, just, if he applies for anything, just so we can just know what we applied for, so
Yeah.
we can kinda
Yeah.
keep a mind on it.
The other big capital thing that we'll have obviously every year is new fire gear. I've got slated around 30,000 for that. When we go with the trustees' approval, when we go with the 4 people and we move the apparatus, we'll have 5 to 7 people down there will need to gear up in first of the year, so the gear expense will be there.
What's the difference between the 430 and the 740?
430 is like smaller pieces of equipment,
Okay.
and then 740 is like bigger pieces of equipment, like big,
Capital
yeah,
expenditures.
capital expenditures.
Also for this budget for this year, we took off the brush truck for that expenditure. We're gonna see what's going with the building and other expenditures, and we'll try to kick that can down the road just a little bit and take care of these brush trucks as good as we can.
Because you're gonna need money to pay your debt back.
On the building? Yeah.
How do you-
And I don't know what that number is, so,
Are you talking about if we take the loan out or?
well, you're gonna have to take a loan
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna have to pay debt service on it for the next 20 to 25 years, so, so you gotta budget a number.
USDA, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Brian?
I said that'll be up to USDA.
Chief Runnells, do you have anything on the budget? Chief Peters? Chief Seabold?
You're doing great.
He said you were gonna give a speech.
Chief Seabold, I want you to call Trenton and see how much of that money I get.
I know with Johnny, he said, I think he looked at this already. he
Yep,
was
and I
already-
made all his changes the way he wanted them.
Cause he had, my biggest concern was paving budget.
He
It's
dropped it a
under,
little bit.
yeah, it's under what we have allocated.
He
which-
dropped it a couple 100,000, he told me.
Which surprises the millions out of me, but the cost of blacktopping we got right now.
He just didn't think we'd need as much this year. I talked to him yesterday.
Yeah. That's-
Yeah, I budgeted 246, and he said it was gonna be like, what, around a little less than 200, and then whatever amount we had left over, he wanted to do the seal cracking on Mossaman.
Yeah, he sent us a list. Now, is that out of,
Yeah, I've got it all coming out of 2141. And then Tim, did he say he was paving, what's that subdivision over there? Near the mart?
Oh,
Rolling Meadows?
yeah,
or-
Rolling Meadows.
Cause he's gonna do that whole subdivision, right?
I can't recall if we had that in
Think.
the conversation.
that's the one with Joanne and.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, the Fraley
Yeah,
subdivision.
near where you
up
live,
there.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they've already done my road, so I'm good.
It
County
is
did.
real nice.
Yeah, it is real nice.
The road,
They're
the
gonna
road
change it a little bit, aren't they?
Yeah, this is all gonna change in the spring.
Yeah.
That's what cracked me up, is like, why didn't they stop that short? Cause they just wasted money.
Well, I went out there and talked to the guys as they were doing. I go out there and say, "How's it going?" You know. And I said, "Okay." I said, "You know, they were trimming my trees the first time." I said, "You know, they're going to cut those trees down next spring." He goes, "Well, that's what we were paid to do." I said, "Okay," but it's the county's timeline, and that other one's the state's timeline. That apparently they don't get on the same page with each other.
They know you live there, just trying to make it nice for you.
Yeah, I know. I appreciate that. I
Keep it
really
looking
do.
good.
So on the parks one, do we know, like, how much that's gonna, no? Okay.
Unfortunately not. We had a estimate on the engineering, or the construction from the engineer. But that's one of the things we're talking about. We're gonna try to do we don't have enough drawings for people to bid on, so we're gonna have to try to do a design build.
Okay.
And I think we'll talk about that. I think the drawing we got, the description we got, we should be able to do that.
Okay, and did you get that septic guy I sent you, the contact?
Yes, I did.
All right.
So
Who
we-
was it? Which subject guy was it? Oh, I'm sorry.
My husband, it's the guy that did ours.
And talking with the people in these groups, he said most of those guys want to design the septic system and install it, which I understand.
We installed our
Oh, you
own.
installed your own?
He just designed it, Dan Michaels is his
Mhm.
name. Yeah, he laid it out for us, he did the perk test, and then he filed all the plans with the health department. Got it approved, and then my husband and I installed it ourselves. But you have, like I said, you have to be certified through the state to be able to install them. It's not, you take a test online, so it's not.
So you're certified?
I'm not. My husband is.
Okay.
Does he want to do any community service?
Yeah, really.
Gotta get on his calendar.
I don't have anything else. Are you guys good?
Good.
Do you guys have any other questions?
I don't.
Do you have any other questions or comments, or?
I think I do, but I know we're not gonna figure the fire station thing out for a while, so that was the one that was really eating at me, because I don't really know what number to plug in there.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, none of us know really.
no. Everybody we talked to said, post-COVID, cost just.
Oh, yeah,
through the
they
roof.
more than doubled.
But now they've said, and I think I agree with what they're saying, that the costs have kind of plateaued, and they're not really going down, but they've
Mhm.
plateaued, so, which is a little encouraging. So that's the cost, is still the cost of what it's gonna be, but it's a little encouraging they're not going up as much as they were.
Yeah, do you guys think that we're still gonna do that school calendar, or?
Well, if they don't hurry up, and we're not gonna do that.
I was gonna say, I
told
would
them.
recommend, just from a financial standpoint, if they're not gonna pay us back, I don't even know why we bother doing it,
Yeah, and it's a school calendar too.
right?
That's what I told them. I've been telling them that. Hey, if we get any pushback on this or anything, so we're not gonna do it. So, and I think they're gonna do, from what I understand, they might be doing their own newsletter too, a quarterly newsletter that they wanna put out. So
And we were talking, there's other things we can do to try to reach out to the community that keep them up to date with things we're doing, so.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
suggest, at Sims, we have a thing that's called Constant Contact, and it's only $650 a year, and you email people, like, you don't have to print anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's just an email, and it goes out monthly,
Yeah.
and you can put as many things in there as you want to update people and let them know, and it's pretty user-friendly. But we would save a ton of money if we did that versus printing that newsletter.
Yeah, I mean, we're asking them to pay for half of it, they still getting a deal out of it.
Oh,
They really
yeah.
are, cause Dave did a lot of the work out.
Mhm.
and
Dave did.
It's
He
just.
did it all.
Amen.
In defense of the office manager, even if Stacy Castle retired, you still had to do something.
Yeah.
So when you went to the future with the 2021, 22 that I was hired, 23, CDS Alliance was still part of her. So even though she was so cheap, you still had to pay CDS Alliance.
Mhm.
Because I had asked Amy billing, well, Stacy never really did any type of billing that was big. So then you move to the future, and even if you looked at all the companies, marketing and doing a website, and then you still have to send it to Dobbenmeyer, which we picked Dobbenmeyer, and they have to put it together. I forget that technical term what they are, and there's only certain people that could do that. I can't think of that name. And then plus after they get all that done, they mail it, and then that's where all that picture comes into play. And of course the money situation. Yeah, when I presented it, there's the money, and it looked bad because it was a lot of money. But I mean, for the most part, we've all known that. I've always known that the news calendar was what people wanted, because they'll come in and knock on the door and ask for it,
Yeah.
and then plus the calendar, and they'll
Mhm.
come here before they go there for the calendar. So other than that, I was just trying to make sure we had something in place, something close to home. And that way we were up there, because I'll be honest with you, back and forth to Dobbenmeyer is so close, and working with Jennifer and
Mhm.
Ruthie has been absolutely wonderful, and of course Teresa Nichols. But for the most part, I reached out to 3 different people representing their company on designing our, be a designer for our newsletter. And then of course, that one could do one and one couldn't do the other. So when he wanted .gov, so somebody, they said, well, I can't do .gov. So we would have had to found somebody else, but Terry was able to help us out with both.
Yeah. Well, I talked to 2 school board members Saturday. And I said, why haven't you guys sent us that check yet? And they go, what? It hasn't been sent yet? I said, no, we don't got anything. What's going on? You know, I'm not gonna say what one of them said, but they were surprised that it hadn't gotten to us yet. So.
The other question I had on the portalets that we paid for, Johnny's A1 Sanitation, is the concession stand going to have restrooms?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll be able to get rid of this expense, because I think the $435 a month is absolutely insanely crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Because we pay $82 a month for one portalet at Sims, and I don't understand why they're charging us $435 for 3.
It's the same company?
No, this is Johnny's A1 Sanitation.
Will those restrooms be open year round, or will they have to winterize them?
We'll have to winterize
'Cause I know, like at Fairfield Township, we winterize them from like 1st of November through whatever, March or whatever.
That's,
And then they put 3 or 4 portalets out there during the
pretty-
winter, but
yeah, I think that's.
But still, we're paying $435 a month.
it's a lot.
I pay $160 for 2 at Sims a month.
That
It's just
includes
cra-
them
it's
coming
just-
out to empty them and all
Yep.
that?
It's crazy.
Who is it?
It's Johnny's
We've
A1
got
Sanitation.
Johnny's.
I don't,
mean, who?
we have Rumpke at,
Rumpy.
yeah.
That's who we use at Fairfield
Which
Township.
does, I mean, we have Rumpke out here, but I'm also gonna call about our trash rates, cause I think our trash rates are stupid expensive too. We pay far less in Sims than we do here, which is crazy.
Those things
Recycle.
out there are a point of contention anyway.
Well, I was gonna say, did you see somebody threw a whole bunch of trash in one of them? Like, why doesn't Rumpke come out and replace the lids?
The lids, they stay open and all that trash. I've had complaints from our road crew all the time forever. That stuff blowing out of that because they leave the lids open. There's paper all over the place, and we were considering just getting rid of them totally. But when we were considering that, at one time, we decided, well, the benefit to the community outweighs the cost at that time, but it's still,
But they can replace the lids, like, we had them replace the lids at our place, and they'll replace them and they have these little openings about this big. So they can't put trash in it, it's impossible to put it in, and they have locks on them. So all they can do, and then it'll force people to flatten their cardboard boxes, because I think that's the biggest problem out there, is
Oh,
people
yeah.
just throw
Big
their
box.
cardboard boxes in there and then they just move on, they don't care. But if you, with those new lids, they will be forced to break them down and then, slide them in there, and then you have to individually put cans and bottles and.
yeah, that's what we.
Well, how do people
Stuff
put their
in.
mattresses in there then?
I don't know, good question.
And then
That's what they gotta figure out.
somebody put my name in there that I'm like, I'm not even in charge of that.
Well, on that, I think they should just stack the boxes out by the thing, and you should flatten them yourself.
That'll be the next one.
I'll just set them on fire out there, Dave.
You wouldn't believe how many
You-
people I see
we can
come
do
in that
training.
video, and I have no clue who lives in the township and who don't. And I'll be honest with you, there's a couple of trucks with trailers that comes in here, and their trailers are full.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, when I come in here on the weekend, there's always a truck back up to those things.
Oh, yeah.
And then people just pitching stuff in there.
We'll pull the plates off the cameras and
I tried.
get Mike Day to run the tag for us, and then our road crew can return all that stuff back to those people's residents.
Well, and I did try a little bit with this last one, and trying to find, I can go so much with that, the monitors, but for the most part, it was a matter of, the video itself, trying to get a picture of the person in the driving or the plate number. And sometimes that gets a little, because the way the cameras are out there, the best one is rotates. So
Yeah.
if it rotates, I can't capture that, but the other one that I could get a standard of direct drive,
Yeah.
then when I go to even zoom it, it's just a little tough. But that's it, but we tried to do the cameras with the actual dumpster, which we did, we put a camera there for the actual dumpster, but we haven't done one with the recyclable bins.
Yeah.
But that's time consuming, because I'm sitting there trying to watch the thing, go fast forward and bring it back, and I see cars pulling in and out, and I'm trying to catch them, and it's time consuming.
Yeah, yeah, it is. I try to wave whenever I'm coming to the building on the weekend. Hey, just me. Hey.
Anything else we'll join this meeting and then start the other meeting at 6:30?
Good.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Get some of Dave's call.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Willoughby?
Yes.
Mr. McGuire?
Yes.
Mr. Coldiron?
How are you?
Missed a good train last night.